Okay, we're going back to base, Rabbi. So we're going back to the sugya of Pasa Baba Kistin. We're still in the sugya, believe it or not. And there's still more to do. That's very good, Ben. Excellent, well said. Hilchas Pizza, we have to get to that. Although there's not much to discuss. After you go through the sugya, you see there's very little to discuss about it, as we're going to see. So I want to finish off by mentioning a few things that we left out, a few things that we have to go through before finishing the sugya. We left off with the shaila of, once we know what Pasa Baba Kistin is, which makes it a Mezonos, there are two exceptions to Pasa Baba Kistin. Exception number one is if you eat the amount of Kaveh Suda that everyone and you would be Kaveh Suda, then everyone agrees that's going to be Hamoitzi, even the Shulchan Aruch. Right? That's Poshet. Because Pasa Baba Kistin, the whole Yesod of Mezonos is because no one's Kaveh Suda. But if you're Kaveh Suda and you eat the amount that people are Kaveh Suda, then Avadi you have to wash with Entil Tzedayim, Hamoitzi, and Berachat Hamazan. However, now exception number two is what? What's exception number two? The other thing, that is true. Almost, the suit. Ah, very good. You're saying one of their terim. What was the other exception? Zev, what was it? You remember? Coffee? No. No, anyone? No, we're getting somewhere. No, Rabbi say. Anyone? This is why we needed a chazor. Okay, good. Oh, shkoyach. Baruch Hashem. Says Daniel Avada, if you're mitzvah of it to something else, that if you eat Pasa Baba Kistin together with other things, then the other things are mitzvah to the Pasa Baba Kistin to become a Kaveh Suda, and mainly you have to wash and you have to bench. By the way, somebody mentioned Shulchan HaTorah. Who mentioned it, didn't he? Just now, you mentioned Shulchan HaTorah? The Heilige Minute Kamana. Shulchan HaTorah, right? It's an amazing thing. He says, right before you eat Pasa Baba Kistin, remember this before you have the next biscuit or the next pretzel, he says, Avad, you should wash. Avad, you should wash. Why? He says he's worried that you're going to eat so much of the Pasa Baba Kistin that you're going to end up having Kaviyah Sudashe, and therefore you'll have to bench, which is okay. But the problem is you didn't wash. And if you didn't wash, it means the Gemara in Saita that nekem in oilam shemirachem of the things that the Shulchan HaTorah brings of a person that doesn't wash when he's meant to wash. And therefore, Zuk the Shulchan HaTorah, make sure before you have a Pasa Baba Kistin always to wash, because you don't know what's going to be. Well, you can make sure not to eat so much, but he's worried. You know how he goes. It's like a manuvel. No, yeah, of course, he would hold, yeah, but maybe you should have it on bread rather, in other words, not to get out of the shaila. But now, come on, let's move on. Rabbi say, next shaila. What happens if you eat pasta, noodles, lakshan, a serious amount? Let's say, for example, in yeshiva, they have like all different sauces they put together with it. They've got the mushroom sauce, got the tomato sauce. It's very nice. It's geschmack with the cheese you can put on top of it. They have soup on the side and salad, all sorts of amazing things that they have, right? What kind of yeshiva serves these sorts of things? If you eat that much pasta, how much do you have to eat in order to wash? Aaron, how much do you have to eat in order to wash?
96.
96 what? Pieces of pasta?
Depends on which shape.
Depends on which shape it is.
There is no limit.
No, Reuven, what are you tying now? Is there a shaila of eating noodles, pasta, lakshan that you have to wash? Why not? It's Mezonos, no? Why not?
Because it's cool Mezonos.
Rabbi, 40 votes. It's heavy.
You're in the middle of Mishnayos Mikvayos or something that you're in the sugya of Mikvayos. No, what are you tying now? Eli, what are you tying now? Weiß nicht. The answer is very simple. We said in the beginning, Pasa Baba Kistin means something that's a sofek pas because it's baked. Something that's cooked in liquid is not baked, and therefore it's not included in the shaila Pasa Baba Kistin, and therefore you can eat as much as you want. You will never ever have to wash again. By the way, that's the minig in Eretz Yisrael and Yerushalayim. Then it's baked afterwards. Now, let's go through this. Let's go through this. First of all, one by one. If you have lakshan, you have pasta, you have noodles. The minig in Yerushalayim, by the way, if you go to a kiddush, Yerushalmi kiddush, what are they serving? Yerushalmi kigel. Why? Why are they serving Yerushalmi kigel? Because number one, it fills you up. And number two, you'll never have to wash. Can you imagine there's a food that you can eat as much as you want and you will never have to bench again? This is gavaldik. There's another one, by the way. And the other one is wafers. Wafers are also, it's very interesting. Wafers, you can eat as many wafers as you want. You will never have to wash or bench because it's so thin that you're never going to eat the sheh of Passover. Because and also because it's something that's so thin, the Shulchan Aruch brings the end of Simon Kuf Samachas, and if something is so thin, it gets a din of Mezonos and it stays a Mezonos. I don't want to go down to the details because there's a lot more to get to. I want to get to pizza. But that's really the side of those sorts of things. Let's move on, Rabbi Say. How many people wash on potato burekas? Right, for example, they make a seam in yeshiva quite often, and they get these things with potato burekas, right, Morty? You wash on that? You don't wash on that? Ah. So, you on a diet? So, let's have a look what Rabbi said at the Shulchan Aruch. Let's have a look at the Shulchan Aruch before you decide what you do. Let's see what the Shulchan Aruch has to say, because we have to know what to do. We look at the Shulchan Aruch, right? Rabbi say, Simon Kuv Samach Sif Yud Zayin. Look it up, Rabbi Sai. Very important, simple shaila in Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says like this. I read to you the words. Pashtida. What's a pashtida? Like a pie. Some kind of that, right? Hanerfo b'tanur. That is baked in an oven. Yeah? Bebasa oy bedogim oy begvina. With cheese, with meat, or with fish. Mevorich olov hamoitzi or birchas hamazon. Says the Shulchan Aruch, there's no shaila if you have dough that is filled with something savory as opposed to sweet, like potato, cheese, fish, meat, whatever it could be. So therefore, the halacha is it's hamoitzi. I don't understand. Why is that not possible by kisnin? Didn't we say that according to one mission at least, that we paskin like that as long as it's filled, it's dough that's filled with something, it's got a din of a Mezonos. So why over here does the Shulchan Aruch bring a separate sif without anyone who's chaylik, no machlokes about it, that once I have a dough that's filled with something sweet, like potato, fish, whatever, it's vada hamoitzi. Zug the Magen Avram, which the Maisa, the Shulchan Aruch Harav, the Graz, and the Mishnah Berurah, Noach HaShulchan, the Cha'odom, the Kavachayim, all paskin like. Zug the Magen Avram, you're right. But you know what the difference is? Earlier on, we were discussing something, as the Rishonim say clearly, that was filled with something sweet. And therefore, you're not Koveya Sudas, we said in the beginning. A person is never Koveya Suda, you don't eat that much of sweet things. Mimela gets it in of a Mezonos. Masha'enkin over here, where we're dealing with things that are filled with something sweet. People are Koveya Suda on that. People are Koveya Suda on dough filled with meat, dough filled with potato, dough filled with fish, dough filled with cheese. Therefore, according to Magen Avram, if it's filled with something savory, there's no shaila, 100%, it's on the Telis Adayim, washing, hamoitzi, birchas hamazon. Shaila is Rabbi Sai, why don't we see anyone on a little potato bureka washing and benching? If it's a simple Shulchan Aruch, that is no shaila and no machlokes, that if it's filled with something that is not sweet, you make hamoitzi. Ben, are you with me? Okay, so let me give you. Answer number one is if the pastry is very flaky and dry, so then you've got the other Tanaya Pasaba Bekisnin, and it will be Nichlal into that. And therefore you're okay. The other heter would be, this is why if you're on a diet you probably won't eat it, is the margarine content within the pastry or the dough. In the margarine, according to many, has a din of mei peris. Mei peris has a din of sweetness, and therefore if there's a lot, roiv ingredients, right, of margarine, you have to know also the margarine has 16% water, 15% water. I'm not going into that now, but if it's got roiv ingredients of margarine, then it's got a din of nilush im dova masoik. So in other words, it's needed with something sweet, and therefore it will be okay. And the last thing is the Mishnah Berurah Sikot and Sali Dalet. Second Mishnah Berurah and Sif Yud Zayin. Very interesting. The Mishnah Berurah says a Yesoid, and that is something that the tzura is muchach olav. If it's clear from the shape, from the size of the item, that this is not something that people are kaveya suda on, it's a snack ba'alma, then avad you don't have to wash. That's the psak of the Mishnah Berurah, which means if you have the small little berekas and these sorts of things, so avad, no one's kaveya suda on a small little bereka. It's true you can eat tons of them, and it could be if you eat tons of them and you kaveya suda on it, eat the amount that everyone's kaveya suda, could be then you'd have to wash. But if you have one or two small berekas, that says the Mishnah Berurah, it's clear that it's made for a snack purpose, so then even though it's filled with something savory, which the Shulchan Aruch says clearly you have to wash and bench, but Lamaisa says the Mishnah Berurah, since Lamaisa it's made for a small little thing, it's going to be a problem. Which would mean that if you have a huge one, a big bereka, right? Ben, big, huge bereka that people are kivei suda, people buy it for lunch, or they make it for lunch. Like for example, over here in Yeshiva, when she made the calzones, that they were nice, big, fat calzones. That avada you have to wash. Also, the dough over there anyway wasn't made with margarine; it was regular challah dough anyway. So that's pashut. What?
Even if it's a puff pastry.
Even if a puff pastry, yeah. If it's big enough, then you haven't got the heter of the Mishnah Berurah in that case. Moving on. Yes.
What about like a croissant? A croissant person can be smooth because you put a on
Again, you have to know what it's made for in each place. If it's made for as a snack item that people grab on the way to work, on the way to koilel, whatever, it's not about it, it's a snack. But if it's made as a lunch and people eat that and you eat the amount of kaveh sud, then for sure you have to wash. Rabbi said, let's just finish with the sugya pizza, which is not really, if you think about it, so negea to discuss anything specific about pizza. Because number one, we have pasa babakisnin, which means it depends how the dough was made. Number two, we have the sugya of tziruf. That means there's other things together with it that you're eating, like the cheese and everything else that fills you up. Number three, you have the shulchan aruch over here that it's not sweet, it's savory, which means you should really be making a moitzi. So really the shaila basically is what's the din. So the choyu, there's no nafkamina between a piece of pizza and a piece of bereka. If it's made in a small amount and it's made as a snack in that place, so be'etzem it could be a mezonos. By the way, Shlomo Zalman said even if it's not got rov mei peiros in the dough, right? No different to a bereka, no different to anything else, because at the end of the day, it's made as a snack, right? Which the Kaf HaChaim brings, for example, and other poskim as well. It depends on the minhag hamokim. Do people eat it as a snack, or do not eat it as a snack, right? Also will depend how much you eat. If you eat enough pizza that the normal person would be full and kovei suda on, then I don't care if it's got rov mei peiros in it and the hachsha says mezonot. At the end of the day, if you eat enough pizza that everyone would be kovei suda, the amount that you're eating, then according to everyone, even the shulchan aruch that's makel to make a mezonos or pasa babakistin that's got fruit juice in it would have to wash and bench without any shayla whatsoever. So if, for example, let's just make something that's the kulei alma, 3 slices for sure, most people would be full. 3 festa good American slices, avada, most people would be full from such a thing, and therefore most people would be kaveh suda on that, and that would be for sure. When you have a situation of 1 slice, so in a chanami, there is definitely what, and Rav Shlomo Zalman said in Eretz Yisrael it's a bit more shver to be making on these things, because over here they do serve 1 slice, and people sometimes are full from that, and that's all they eat. But in America, for example, when you grab a slice, and it's got rov mei peiros, which again, you have to check the hechsha on each place to make sure it's taka got rov mei peiros in it, otherwise it's a piece of bread basically with tomato sauce and cheese on it. But if it's got rov mei peiros, that means the hachshah are calling it mezonos, and you're eating it for a snack. There's definitely what to say that will be a mezonos. But again, people make the mistake and they say that if it's called mezonos, then I can make a mezonos on it. I don't have to bench. I make ala michya. They make the mistake not realizing if you eat that much amount, that everyone, and normal people, and you would be kaveh suda, and this is the amount that you're full on. Then avada, you have to wash and you have to bench in that case. Okay, that pretty much wraps up the sugya of pasa babakistin. Tomorrow we'll start a brand new sugya.